Hey guys, Josh here with OK Mobile Mechanic. We are doing a quick valve cover gasket replacement in this 2007 Toyota Corolla. It's a pretty straightforward procedure here, just mostly preventative maintenance. This was actually a vehicle that I inspected as a pre-purchase inspection for my client probably about 3 months ago, and now he's just doing some routine maintenance on here. There was a slight leak, if I remember correctly, on the valve cover, so we're going to take it apart, scrape the old one off, put the new one on. We'll walk you through the steps. This is probably one of the easiest ones. Some aren't quite so easy, especially on like V6 and V8 engines, when you have to sometimes remove a lot of parts to get to multiple of the valve covers. But this is the 4-cylinder. It just sits right up on top. All we got to do is get the wiring out of the way, remove a few bolts, and it's good to go. First things first, I just want to spray it with my hose, my air hose, just to get everything kind of cleaned up and easier to work on and less dirty, obviously, right? And obviously we got to take this cover off too first. Just a couple 10 millimeters. It looks like there's one missing right there. Right here, it looks like you got 2 bolts and then 2 nuts, but this one's missing a nut. There we go. And now we've exposed the actual valve cover here. Since this is a 2007, this is actually still aluminum casing. A lot of people use plastic now, and the plastic just gets really hot over time and ends up cracking. So if you end up working on one and yours is plastic, be very careful when you're screwing it back in and bolting it into place that you don't over torque it, because you can very easily crack the cover. But this one's metal, so we don't have to be quite as careful, but still obviously be pretty careful. So what we're going to do here is just unplug each one of these ignition coils, take them out. It's just a 10 millimeter bolt on each side, or I mean on each one. Slide those out, get this kind of cleaned up a little bit first before we actually expose anything, so that we don't get any dirt inside of the engine. Remove a few hoses and electrical components. We don't have to remove the fuel rail or anything, so really it's just this electrical part here, this hose and this hose, and then that's about it other than the bolts. For taking these coils out, just got to unplug them all. I always use one of these clips for whenever I'm using or unplugging stuff, but I guess this time I'm not going to have to. No, I probably will, because I kind of suck at these and I always end up just using the pick and sliding it out. See if I can get this one with my hands first. There we go. Sometimes they just want to fight you, and it's easier to just get the pick underneath and slide it out than it is to fight it. See? Just get these out of your way. Then we're going to take these 4 10 millimeter bolts out. It shouldn't be torqued down that tight. Alright. Set this aside. And these should just pop right out. Should go ahead and inspect them too. You can see there's a little bit of oil in there. That's one of the reasons why we want to do this job, is because the tube seals are starting to fail. So we just want to prevent any oil from getting in here. But I'm going to clean this up and keep these in order as well, so when they go back in, they're going back into the same in the same places that they were before. If you mix them up, it's not really a big deal, but just a good practice rule of thumb is to always put things back in the same spot that it originally went. And when you're inspecting these, you're looking for obviously oil like that, but cracks as well. These ones all both look okay. An electrical harness needs to be removed to get this last coil out, because it's just barely blocking it. Luckily, everything so far has been 10 millimeter, easy to remember, easy to put back together. Once that's out of the way, now I can pull this out. It doesn't look cracked or anything. So again, just clean it up a little bit, these will be fine. And then you'll want to just do a quick visual inspection up inside. Get some light if you have one. Pretty clean, pretty clean. This one's got some gunk in it, so you can see the oil that's gotten into it. So we'll clean that out. All right, now we want to get these electrical harnesses off of our cover. So you just pop that one off. Actually, I don't even think that one needed to come off. What needs to come off is that bracket, or that little bolt right there. Follow this around, so this is going to need to come off. Alright, we're just gonna get this little clamp off here so we can get this hose off. And this is, at this point, we're just removing all of the components that are attached to the valve cover itself. Be really careful with these when you're pulling them off, because luckily these ones have, I believe, the steel tips. Yeah, these are metal tips, but which gives you a little bit more ability to like kind of be rough with it. But oh no, that looks like it might be plastic actually. I'll get a better look once it's actually off. Either way, you want to be careful, because if it is plastic, they get brittle and they break. And if they break, that's no good. Alright, so just pull these hoses out of your way. We're going to need to get this bracket up and out of the way. As long as it's off, that's all we need. Doesn't look like these other ones are attached. And then, is this one attached, or? Yeah, this one is attached by that bolt, it looks like. I'm gonna go around, break all these bolts. They all should be pretty easy. You don't really torque this down that tight, so it shouldn't be something to worry about having to have like a seasoned nut, unless it's super rusty or something. You shouldn't really have much to worry about. Where's this next one? Oh, this is one of those deeps, and I believe this one's a 12, because it's actually, if you look closer at it, it's got this long neck that connects down and tightens down at the bottom. There's nothing actually to grab here, so you have to get another bit that grabs it right up top. This is a 12 millimeter, the rest are all a 10. So I'll get this little electrical bracket on. There's another one under here. It's pretty tough to access. This one having a long extension is helpful. That was a long one, so we definitely have bolts of different lengths and nuts. So it actually turns out they're the same size right here. So you don't really have to worry so much about them going to the exact same place so far, but you have the nut that goes with it, and then the two bolts so far. There's multiples that we's getting. So there's one, here's the next one. You obviously want to be very careful about not losing these, because if you drop them somewhere difficult to grab, that's not going to be fun, or inside the engine, especially once this cover comes off. Should be, yeah, I was gonna say, should be a couple on this side. This one's just a nut. I think that's all of them. Now this guy, which is gonna be a 12. It's like a chess piece. And we should have 3 up here in the middle. Center bolts. Or maybe it's just these 2. Oh, this is the 12. This should just pop right off. So if you go to grab it and it wiggles like this, that's really good. If it's stuck already still, double check. Maybe you were missing a bolt that's still in place. It shouldn't really be a crazy tight fit. If it still is, it's a really old engine or something, or really rusted up, then you might need to come and find a spot where you can fit a pry tool. But be very gentle that you don't scar up that mating surface at all. Luckily, this one feels pretty easy. Like it's just gonna pop right off. We got this bracket holding us down right here. Just kind of pull that out of the way. And you just gotta be patient and work around all the electrical. Don't force anything or break anything. Just wiggle your way out. And this is the underneath side. This gasket's what we're replacing. You can see it's super flat, and there's areas down in here where you can see obviously that it's leaked through into the valves. So we're gonna clean all of this up, inspect the chain, inspect the cams, get it all clean and put a new gasket on. Right now I'm just inspecting it, making sure it all looks, the cams look fine and there's no scratches or any visible like gouges or anything like that. They all look good and look smooth. The chain looks fine, same deal, no gouges. Obviously I'm not looking at the entire thing, but if it's gouged up in one spot, usually that's going to be gouged up the entire way because it's just running through that same spot that's grinding. So what we're going to do is clean up this mating surface here really good. It's really dirty, so I'm going to grab a razor blade and I'm going to come scrape this whole surface clean. Spray my wipe with the brake clean and wipe it down. Don't necessarily spray all over all of this with brake clean. Just spray your towel, give it a good wipe. I might hit this with a wire brush if some spots are being really stuck on there. And then same deal with these valves here. I'm going to wipe it up, get it clean, and then we'll walk through putting the new gasket on. So this is probably the most time-consuming part, is just going through. It's kind of meticulous and just difficult to access a lot of areas, but you're just going through and you're scraping all of this gunk, and especially these areas where the old gasket maker is. You're gonna want to scrape all that off, so you can see right there where I scraped, obviously. Just gonna go through, give it a wipe, and then hit the other side. And we're literally just gonna go all the way around. Do your best not to push the grime into the engine area. Push it outward if you can. Obviously, some areas it's pretty tough and you might end up doing that by accident. It's not that big of a deal, it's just good practice, you know. We're trying not to get more dirt in there than needs to be. And this stuff is wiping off pretty easily. This is just oil. And then these areas around, right up here, these areas around where the bolts go are very important that you make sure are super clean. Because that's obviously, you know, a lot more surface area where the gasket maker is going to be, and you want to make sure that it gets all gets on there. There's no leaks that can happen. All right, so I scraped the entire surface clean with the razor blade. Now I'm going to go through with the brake cleaner on a pad, on a wipe, just wipe it all down, and then I'm actually going to hit it with this wire wheel to get some of these areas that are a little bit more burnt on and caked on. And then I'm gonna just, you know, wipe it down one more time. Yeah, no, but I'll spray this down, wipe it one more time afterwards, and then we will clean the actual cover itself. Some of these areas are a bit harder to access. But you gotta get all the way around and get all the spots. Because you don't wanna do all this work, just have a leak, have to come back and do all this work all over again. Trust me, I've been there, I've done that. These lines are, these edges are pretty jagged, so you can see it's kind of like tearing up my cloth here. Using a towel is better. These cloths aren't the best in the world. I just ran out of towels and I had to buy these on a pinch, but once it starts to fray, you'll want to switch, and you don't want to get a bunch of fibers all up in here. They'll just burn away and probably do absolutely nothing, but good practice. Don't let stuff get inside the engine. This is probably one of the most satisfying jobs that you can do, like in all of mechanics, at least in my opinion, is cleaning and doing valve covers, because they're always super, super dirty. And then when you clean them, it's just a nice white surface, like a nice silver surface like that, all reflecty and pretty looking. I just realized I didn't hit this middle part with the razor blades. I have to come back and hit these. Those are bad. It's this middle area that's the worst. Let's see if I can get you an angle of this here. Kind of scrapey. Just trying to get a lot of the big gunk. So when I hit it with the wire wheel, it doesn't gunk it up. That's about it. Now I'm going to hit this surface here with the wire wheel. Whenever you're using stuff like a wire wheel or power tools, put on your safety glasses. They look goofy, but you know, they keep your face safe. I've got stuff flung up in my eye before, man. It ain't fun. You might end up going through one or two wire wheels. That's okay. Go ahead and give that a spray. And a wipe. Now that is a surface ready for mating. Much better. That looks way cleaner. You get a little bit of fuzz up in there. It's okay. So now I'm just going to go ahead and hit the perimeter, do the exact same thing, and then we'll go ahead and clean the actual cover and put the new gaskets on. Extra attention, and you might want to like zoom in on this one too so you can really see. See right here where there's that line where it splits, where the two pieces of steel come together, not steel but aluminum come together. You want to pay extra attention right there, that's extremely cleaned off, because we're actually going to put a little bit of gasket sealer right there, and it's going to be on both sides. And that's where the two pieces come together. Sometimes there's multiple areas, so you'll want to inspect all the way around any sorts of turns or creases, or if it has a lip where it comes up and over the timing chain, you'll want to make sure those corner spots are really, really clean for the gasket sealer. So I'm just going to go around and hit that and pay a little bit of extra attention to those areas. I'm gonna give that one final wipe down here. Stuff sure is jagged. Just tearing up my towels. And the wire brush is honestly probably a little overboard and not fully necessary, but I've never had any problems with it, and it's just taking one little extra step. You know, if it was my own car, it's something that I would do to it. So since I'm working on a client's vehicle, I want to treat it the same way I would with my own car, you know, and take the extra steps, make sure that it's done right, that it's going to seal, and that there's not going to be any leaks. Then I don't got to worry about doing the job again. And especially with a car like this, where it's a commuter car for somebody, it's got to run for a long time, for long hours, you know, and you want to make sure it's done good. All right, so now what we're doing is removing the actual gasket itself, putting the new one in. We're gonna do the same thing here, clean this surface, put the new cover on. But this one is super flat. Like there's not even anything for me to grab onto to pull it out. There we go. Look, it's just like super hard. Look, it just cracked right off. Should be plastic, it should be malleable. It shouldn't just crack like that. So this was definitely due for a cleaning. And so what I'm going to do here is actually take a wire brush, just like one of these here. I'm going to give the back of this a quick spray down. Hit this all the way around. And we're not really trying to clean inside of the grooves as much because the gasket was in there. Most likely stuff didn't really get in there. We're trying to clean this top surface and these areas where the bolts are going to mount, just to make sure that there's a clean surface for the new gasket to kind of sit on, and then no oil can leak out of that. All right, once that's all cleaned up and you kind of, what I like to do is take my towel, wrap it around the screwdriver, a little flathead here, and then just run it through the grooves really quickly, and that's going to dry up all of the leftover brake fluid that's in there. We want that dry. We don't want to put the gasket on top of a bunch of pool of brake fluid. It's just going to eat away at the rubber. All right. Take the new gasket. Looks like those are for the mounting bolts. And then so there's a top and a bottom side to these. All right, so the way you want it to go is it tapers upward. You want this to go inside so that it sits up and it has like a cap on it, kinda. Right, so it's gonna sit in the grooves just like that. And so all you really gotta do is find out exactly how it goes, which this is a pretty easy one since these tube seals are all mounted as one. They just kind of pop in like that. And then you're just gonna go all the way around, seat the gasket, and it should be shaped exactly like your valve cover, just like that. If it fights you a little bit, that's good. There should be a little bit of attention to it, not so much though that it won't actually seat. That means you probably are off just a hair somewhere. So the hardest part of this is going to be reinstalling this, wiggling it all around into place without that gasket popping out. So we want to make sure it's very seated very well around all of the seals. All right. I'm gonna get a clean glove for this one. All right, and this is a little trick of the trade that I learned that helps a lot with valve cover gaskets, but I've used it in many different situations now. First of all, I'm putting a new glove on because I don't want to dip a dirty, greasy finger into my petroleum jelly, because I use this for my hands too. But what you're going to want to do is just take a little gloop of this, and in all these corner areas, just kind of pop it in there just like that. And that's going to act as like a temporary glue almost, and keep this valve cover in place, and hopefully keep it from popping out and falling out while you're trying to maneuver it back in. So you just want to keep going all the way around, applying this gasket to it so that it becomes just a little sticky is all. And it's going to melt and just burn away into the oil of the engine, which is fine because this is 100% petroleum based. So it's literally just like the same stuff as your oil in your engine almost. And this minuscule amount's not going to do any damage whatsoever. And what it's actually going to do is similar to how you wet the seal of a oil filter when you're doing an oil change. It causes the gasket to expand and press up into the surface that it's sealing, and actually creates a better seal. So this does the same thing. So once this gets sat down, this rubber is going to expand a little bit from this petroleum jelly and help it seat even better and seal up so that it doesn't leak any oil anywhere. Probably don't need quite this much, but whatever. More is only going to help it stay in place, especially with how much tension this one had and how much it was kind of fighting me just to get it to where it is now. Same deal with these tube seals. You can just kind of go along that inner edge there. So before I put the gasket back on, or the valve cover back on, I gotta hit this black gasket maker right on these edges that I was telling you about. There we go. So just a little glob just like that right on top is all you really need, right on the crack. And then when you put the gasket on, or when you put the valve cover on and you torque it down, it's just gonna spread itself out. So this gasket set came with two new of these like washer little things here that go on the bolts that mount in the center. So these are the original ones. Take note of the orientation of where they are. So when I put these new ones on, I'm going to put them on like that, right? And these are going to be the new seals that I throw in there. So we'll just go ahead and go around and start seating everything by hand and making sure that everything can go into where it's supposed to and actually thread in. We're going to thread everything by fingers first, and then in a specific order we're going to go around and we're going to tighten it by hand, and then we're going to tighten it to a very specific torque spec, which I'll tell you in a second when I find that. So when you're tightening these down, you tighten all of them down to finger tight first, and then make sure you have a torque wrench. If you don't have one, it's going to be kind of tough because these don't torque down very tight at all. This is only 88 inch-pounds, which is about 7 to 8 foot-pounds. So it really not very tight at all. We're going to start from the middle and go in a star pattern. All right. And then as you tighten one down, it's going to kind of loosen the other bolts, so you can go and tighten them by hand real quick just to reduce a lot of the twisting. All right, this other one I gotta switch to the 12 mil, which again, get it finger tight, come across. Back to the 10. And we're over here, now we're gonna come across to this side and get this corner. This one is tough to even access. And all the way across. Corner. So all of those have been tightened. This guy here. Get this one. Oop. And then now we'll go hit these center bolts. Probably should have done the farther one, but it's okay. I'm gonna stop. It's not clicking for some reason, so I'm just gonna go ahead and slow it down before I over torque it. But these do have these crush washers, so it's probably just needing to crush that first. It's okay, it didn't snap, that just came off the... I'm not tightening it nearly tight enough to snap, but I do see it crushing those little crush washers there. There it is. There it is. And now I'm just gonna go through each one more time and double check that they're all torqued down. Because like I said, as you tighten some, other ones can loosen. We just want to make sure they're all tight to spec. All right. Everything is torqued down now to spec. And the spark plugs, as you can see, this was why I recommended it. A lot of corrosion up at the top, and then also just look at all that oil buildup over time that got in there. But it's still running perfectly fine like a dream, because these Corollas are really, really good engines. But we're gonna go ahead and put brand new spark plugs in for them, make it run a lot better. Make sure you have your spark plug tool with an extension. Crack it open. Pop it out. And I believe these are the better ones, and it's the other two cylinders are even worse. Not super, super bad, but definitely worn and corroded. Probably the originals. Yeah, just lots of white corrosion on there. All right, so brand new spark plugs. They just drop right in like that. Make sure you take the little plastic bit off before you drop them in. All right, we're gonna wanna just take your extension with the little ratchet bit on it and just do it by hand on all four until it gets tight. I guess you could do it one at a time, but then you don't gotta take your tool on and off. But we're only tightening it to about 15 foot-pounds, so not very tight at all. So as soon as you feel it tighten up, take it slow. There it is. 15 foot-pounds. Took more revolutions than I was expecting, and I'm gonna be totally honest with you. I get nervous sometimes when it comes to torquing stuff down. That needs to be very light, but it continues to torque or continues to tighten. Oh, it's already in there, that's right. All right, all four spark plugs are in and torqued to spec. Now we'll just pop the ignition coils back in order. All right, so I just dropped the ignition coils back in, pretty simple. Now I'm just tightening everything back down. Back in and tightened down, plugged in, hoses back on. I haven't clamped them quite yet, but I'll throw the clamps back on once we run it. I don't have to put the cover or anything on. All we're gonna do now is just start it, make sure everything sounds good, that it starts up, that it's not misfiring, everything like that. All right, and while it's running, we're gonna wanna look for leaks, see if we see anything.